Hey guys, so today something I want to talk about is artist burnout. Now, if you've watched some of my other videos, you might have heard me talk about artist block, and in it I described how I don't really think that artist block is real, and that it's usually just an excuse, but I don't quite feel the same way about burnout, and I'm going to explain why. Artist block, I think, is pretty commonly used as an excuse to say I'm not capable of doing something, or the accountability of the situation is out of my hands because I have artist block. It's something that happened to me. There's nothing I can do about it. Burnout, though, I think is something that is experienced quite a bit differently in the sense that it's not that you can't do stuff anymore. It's just that you don't find the joy and excitement from it that you used to, and so it starts to feel grinding. And that is far more dangerous than artist block, in my opinion, because if you start to not like doing it, eventually you're just going to stop doing it altogether. So let's talk about it. So what I mean by burning out is when you feel you've been working on something so long, or you've been pushing so hard that after a while you really start to feel like you've lost some motivation and almost start to harbor some resentment towards whatever it is you're doing, whether that's art or something else. But in this case, we're talking about art. So you start to almost feel like you don't have enough energy or drive to want to do the work anymore just because you don't like it. It's kind of giving you this bad feeling because of how much you've had to work on it. And I think there's some main causes that cause this. One is working on projects and things that you don't like to do. Sometimes we take projects because we either need the money, or we think it would be a good opportunity, or we just don't fully understand what it will entail, whatever the reason, and partway down the road we end up realizing that it's not really what we enjoy and it's not really our cup of tea. Now, I don't want to confuse this with simply doing a hard project, right? Like, sometimes things are hard, but they're good for us, and that doesn't mean we should just drop out of them. But sometimes we just truly don't enjoy it, and it really starts to drain on us. So in that case, I think there's one of two things. If you can afford to not do that anymore, I say stop, right? Like, if you're doing a monthly challenge and partway through you realize like this is just draining you and you really hate it, stop doing the challenge, right? But if you have a client and it's really important to preserve that relationship, or you really need the income from that job, then you're gonna have to get through it. But take a mental note of that so that next time you don't take a job like that, because you know that it really takes a damage on a toll on how you are able to work efficiently. The other reason I think that can happen, burnout, is feeling like you're not seeing results, feeling like you're not getting any better. And this can be super frustrating. And at least for me, this is a much more common type of burnout feeling than the first one. Sometimes we have this ideal in our head of what we want our art to look like, and as we work and as we practice, we slowly get closer to that, and we get to a point where we start to think like, hey, my art looks pretty good. I actually kind of like this painting. I don't cringe when I look at my art. But then in a short amount of time, our standards have gone up a little bit, and our art is still back where it was, which means we have to work to raise it again to meet that standard, and we're constantly having to do that as artists. And when we're working to get there and it feels like we're not making progress, or we're not making progress as fast as we'd like, it can really start to feel frustrating and almost like, what's the point, right? And some ways to prevent this, because once you get to a certain point in your art, it can be pretty difficult to self-critique yourself, and it's going to be hard for you to know where you're going wrong in order to improve. You're going to get to a point where to you it looks pretty good. You think you're doing everything right, but for some reason it still just doesn't look right. And a lot of times it's because there's really subtle or really complex concepts going on that maybe we're not quite grasping, right? So things to help combat that is, one, keep all of your old work and keep it somewhere you can see it, right? I think it's a good idea to either use some art of yours as a screensaver, or put it up on the wall, print it out, or if you're drawing on paper, put it up on the wall so that you can see your progress. Another thing that helps is finding some sort of mentor or someone who's higher up than you in their skill set that can look at your work for you periodically and tell you where you're going wrong and how you can improve. Because having a mentor or someone to critique your work is going to help you know about the unknown unknowns, or things that you just aren't aware of that you don't even know to ask because you don't know about them, right? Having someone who can point those out for you is so valuable and can save you like months, even years sometimes, of progress, of time trying to develop that skill, when you can have someone from the outside look at it. Okay. Lastly, I think one of the most important things to helping prevent burnout is if you are, I mean, we all have to make money, right, to stay alive, to pay our bills and stuff like that. And for some of us, that means doing freelance work or working at a studio or even just a part-time job, whatever that might be. And after doing all of that, it can feel really exhausting and really tiring, and you just want to go to bed. You don't want to work on any more stuff. However, I think that compounds the problem and makes it worse. The better solution, even though it might feel like it's way too exhausting or you just don't want to touch another pencil, or you've had a long day working at the coffee shop or whatever, and you just want to come home and take a nap or veg out on some Netflix, having some fun project for yourself that you can just draw away at, that's completely for you. It's not for a client. You don't even have to post this online if you don't want to, but just something that's really for your own enjoyment, drawing wise, art wise, I think is really important to making sure that you can combat that budding attitude of associating drawing or painting with a negative feeling, because the more that gets cemented in your head, the more damaging and more difficult it's going to be to break that. Because if every time you think of art, you feel like, like this grinding feeling, then your motivation to draw is going to be going way, 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 way down, and it's going to take so much more willpower to start doing it than if you can learn to associate it with something you like. So that being said, those are kind of my thoughts and my advice on burnout. Let me know what you think in the comments, what you've experienced and how you got over it, or if you think what I'm saying is completely wrong. I'd like to hear what your thoughts on it are. So anyways, that's it for this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye. Are you looking for even more content on how to become a digital artist? Then check out some of my online courses. There are over 50 hours of in-depth content, and they cover a range of topics from creature design to light and color, and from character design to digital painting. You'll gain access to a private Facebook group for students only, where you can stay motivated and get feedback on your work. Plus, I provide fully responsive support throughout all of my courses, and I offer a 100% no questions asked money back guarantee. So normally my courses range from $100 to $200, but subscribers can take any of them, anytime, any course, for only $12, and once you buy it, you own it for life. There's no time limits, no subscriptions, anything like that. So if you want to show your support and become a better artist in the process, then use the link in the description, or just use promo code YT discount on any of my courses. So appreciate you guys. Have a good one.